Hello, hello, everybody. I need to play my intro though, so let's do that.
Hip hip hooray!
Hello. Hey to everybody in the comments, in the live chat. If you're catching this on a replay, I want to hear from you in the comments as well. Good to see everybody. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I share about my 35 years in Scientology with 3 generations of my family and how we escaped, how we got out. I'm going to be sharing more about that too. Next week, my sister's coming back. If you've caught her on some of my videos, Lana's going to join because she has more to share. Oh, it's just so great to see all of you. Now, if you're new to the channel, be sure you subscribe. And if you like this video along the way, hit the like button too. Everybody in the live chat, check your subscribe buttons too. Good morning, Kim over in Toronto. Failed Pessimist, good morning. And SPTV, looks like you're in Cleveland. Hey, Lord Zenu. Nancy, great to see you. Thank you so much for your help. Power to Paralyze, here we go. Yes. Oh, good. Brian's here. Poet, MT Kaysen. Is it Kaysen or Casson? I might never know, but I'll probably continue to go with Kaysen. Clea, hello. Parallel Jen. Mrs. Valentine. Stinky Cat. This is so great. Thank you very much to everyone who has sent me emails, letting me know, sharing links to videos, and letting me know what stood out to them in terms of highlights in these protests that are happening regarding Scientology in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, in Clearwater as well. We're going to break it all down. There's a lot to talk about. I really appreciate it. My email is natalie@tonkatalk.com. And, I do see a lot of the live streams, but it's always helpful, especially, so I'm in the Midwest, so I'm in Central Standard Time. So sometimes there's like after hours videos that they're doing in Hollywood and I'm already asleep. I do catch them in the morning because I don't know if you've known this, if you've noticed this, but I am a morning person. So I wake up early and try to catch what I didn't catch the night before, which really works out as long as I don't stay up too late catching it live the night before. I'm sure many of you are experiencing the same thing. It's so exciting to watch in real time, but make sure that you take care of yourselves. Thankfully, I have some great people in my corner who remind me of that too. Self-care is important. All right. Yep, I'm in Central Time. Alyssa, I'm excited for tonight as well, and we're going to talk about that. What we think maybe is going to happen today and tonight. I heard from Aaron this morning at Growing Up in Scientology. So he is on his way, starting his travels to get there to join William Gude, Scientology Audit, Streets LA, and the other people that are protesting and live streaming the whole thing. It is going to be something to behold. So what do we got here? Now, I have shared links in my description below to the videos that I'm going to be talking about. Also, the petition to revoke Scientology's tax-exempt status is there, and some other action items that we can take to help things along, to help this movement of revoking Scientology's tax-exempt status is a big part of stopping the abuses within Scientology because it's going to affect their funding, their donations, and it's going to affect their money. It's going to hit them in the wallet. And that's a big key about this. And what we want to do, and this is a message that you're going to hear from Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology, from William Gude in Los Angeles. You're going to hear it from me over and over again. We need to normalize asking our elected representatives. So you got to find out who they are, where you are. Ask them if they support hearings looking into Scientology's tax-exempt status, and find out. This is an election year. There's a lot going on. I think it was Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology who had said that every seat in Congress is up for grabs right now. This is such an opportunity for for not just people to spread awareness about the abuses within Scientology, but to get the attention of their elected officials and put pressure on them to act and answer the question one way or another. Do you support hearings that would look into the tax-exempt status of the Church of Scientology? Aaron did a poll on his channel where he asked, would you support a candidate that was in a different party? So if you vote a certain party, but this one's in a different party, would you support them if you knew that part of their platform would be looking into Scientology's tax-exempt status? And 75% of people said yes. This is really important because elected officials want to get elected. And if this is something that can help on their different platforms, or at least we find out who would support it and who doesn't, this is a great thing. So find out who your local representatives are and start reaching out. Imagine it, right? If we could find out from every member of Congress where they stand on this. Where do you stand on Scientology's tax-exempt status? Are you aware of what's going on? Get them educated on it if they're not. This is huge. This is a huge part of stopping these abuses in Scientology, of stopping the cycle, something that's been going on for decades and decades. I was pleasantly surprised by the survey that Aaron did, that people would support somebody in a different party. Now, in Clearwater, I love the Clearwater videos too, because you really get to see what happens when someone who has been declared a suppressive person by the Church of Scientology shows up. Things just shut down. So Aaron continued to be out in Clearwater last night, going and asking Scientologists their thoughts on Danny Masterson. Should he or should he not be declared a suppressive person for what he did and for what he is in prison for? LAURI Plays, she is also on YouTube, and she was there. She had a really interesting conversation with a woman the other night, where the woman was sitting outside, who's a Scientologist, and actually had a conversation with LAURI about it. And she felt that, yeah, people should be held accountable. And I thought that's so interesting, because LAURI, approached her in a very, very polite way. And they had this whole conversation about it. And I would love to see more of that, because I've said this before, in Scientology, there are a lot of people who are decent people, and their desire to help has been hijacked and manipulated into supporting the Church of Scientology. And they're fed a whole lot of propaganda convincing them that Scientology is actually helping people, that they're going out and providing disaster relief, that they're going out and helping people with their addiction issues, just all these things. So many Scientologists believe that that's what their money is going to. And what we know is that it is not. One interesting thing that came out of the live stream that I watched last night on Aaron's channel was, he said that short-term rentals like a VRBO or an Airbnb, if you're a Scientologist in Clearwater, that you cannot do that because it's competition with a Fort Harrison hotel. That is such a Scientology thing, to think that, oh, this is competition, and so you can't rent out your place to people visiting in Florida. It reminds me of when I was a little kid running around Hawaii at the Church of Scientology there. When I was around 9 years old, I liked to draw pictures. My sister and I did, coloring, and sell them for candy money. And we started doing it inside of the building and got told to stop, because we were trying to make money at the Scientology building. We were kids. So it really speaks to how ridiculous they are with not wanting competition. And Scientology has a long history of this. This is why Scientology calls people who choose to practice Scientology outside of the Church of Scientology squirrels, or people who share about Scientology, talk about Xenu and other things in public. So you'll often hear that: squirrels, suppressive people. And right now in Hollywood, there's a whole squirrel squad filming everything and showing what's happening. Now, yesterday, William Gude, Scientology Audit, Streets LA, had a really long conversation with a woman who said she left Scientology, I think it was a week ago. She shared that Scientology told her that reading books would help cure her cancer. She said that she'd had a brain tumor. I believe that's what she said. She talked about the suppressing feelings. She talked about a lot of the similar things that we've heard and that I've shared too in my own experience growing up in Scientology and being in the SEA organization, and being also a Scientology parishioner. I've got what is that isn't that in hockey like a hat trick if it's 3? So I was a parishioner, I was a SEA organization member, a staff member, all of them. So a lot of what she was saying resonated. I wasn't clear, and somebody tell me in the chat or the comments what you think. I wasn't clear on, was she a Scientology staff member? Was she a SEA organization member? I'm thinking not SEA organization member because it didn't sound like she did the Estates Project Force. Maybe it was a staff member at the Los Angeles office. I don't know. I wasn't really clear on that. So if somebody knows, maybe you could let me know. Once again, of course, Scientology continues to try to weaponize the police and call in these false 911 calls. But there was something a little interesting yesterday. Of the few calls that were made, William Gude did say that someone called the police on Solomon, the kid who comes after school, and claimed that he had a weapon that fires. And it was funny because when the LAPD came, Solomon was down the street filming the police somewhere else. But Will said that it could be someone on YouTube or Scientology. So it is in the realm of possibilities that there are people on YouTube or even people who are being directed by Scientology to call these in as well, not just Scientology themselves there in the testing center. There's multiple possibilities there. Also, something that happened is there was some kind of an altercation. There was a guy who basically threatened Solomon and said that he was going to kick his butt. And Will came and set him straight, and Solomon did a police report, and William Gude really walked him through it and had his back on it, helped educate him on what his rights were about it. And I thought that was great as well that he was there for that, because the mom in me does worry about Solomon. I honestly, all of them, to be honest, but most of them are adults and they know what they're doing and they're watching out for each other. So I try to keep that in mind as I'm watching and like on the edge of my seat sometimes. Now, so another thing that was talked about yesterday in William Gude's stream is he's encouraging people to call the LAPD and email the captain. He shared the phone number and the email, and I've linked that in the description of this video, and demand an investigation into Scientology's misuse of the 911 system. He is going to bring a full list, I think on a board or something tomorrow, so people who are live streaming can share that with the public in general, and people are watching, a whole list of people that could be contacted, and we can put pressure on them to investigate Scientology and these false 911 claims. Now, I did hear on Jessica PALMADESSA's video. She is on TikTok. She's also on YouTube. I've linked to her video. I saw in her stream, somebody had said in the comments that they got a call back from the LAPD and that there was an investigation being done, but I've not heard that anywhere else or have confirmation from anyone else on that. But that is something that I heard in the stream, and you really hope that that is the case, that's what's happening, because it really does need to be done. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. Chris without a Hellcat. He was back at the Blue Buildings on L. Ron Hubbard Way. That's where I spent a ton of time as a SEA organization member and as a parishioner as well. I did a lot of services at the Advanced Organization of Los Angeles. That's where I learned all about Xenu and body thetans. Something that changed is they've now put coverings over all the windows. Before, you could actually see in. And Julian Schwartz, who's a player in this whole thing, he's a SEA organization member that has covered up multiple crimes for Scientology. And he was seen. So now everything is covered so you can't see in, because, Scientology can't have their people that they're hiding away be seen that they're there, where lawyers could maybe find them there. Can't be having that. So that was a change. That was something that they did. Chris without a Hellcat also came upon, just right across the street from the Blue Buildings in Scientology, there was a violent crime committed right there. And the police were there, and he was there filming that as well and trying to find out what was going on. But it was really close to the Scientology buildings. Later on in the evening, and this is after I had went to bed at this point, but I got caught up early this morning, I think on most of it. The after hours crew, as we like to call it, of the Squirrel Squad, headed over to the LRH, the L. Ron Hubbard Life Exhibition building. And because in that building up top is Scientology management. And they get to see these people come and go. Usually they go on multiple buses. But what Scientology has been doing, instead of having them walk out of the building and go on to the bus where they're then subjected to the protesters, to the squirrels, subjected to these suppressive people, can't have that. They've been backing up this giant bus behind this gate and it barely fits. This thing just backs up, barely gets in there. That's been their new tactic so that their Sea Organization members, you know what? They can still hear them when they're on the bus. I think this is more about not having the Sea Organization members being videoed. Because here's what happens when Scientologists and Sea Organization members are videoed and live streamed on the internet. People recognize them. Sometimes they're families who they have not seen in years. Sometimes they're families who don't know if they're dead or alive, see them in these videos, and then start reaching out, start connecting, start wanting to find out more. And Scientology can't have that. So my thought on this hiding them away, not letting them walk out, it's not, because they can still hear on the bus, I'm pretty sure. It's not just about hearing what the protesters are saying. They're going to see them anyways. I think it's more about not letting the Sea Organization members be videotaped or to have their images recorded because, like I just said, people who know them are going to want to know what the heck is going on and see their family member there. And that could create situations for Scientology and make that Sea Organization member what Scientology calls a potential trouble source. Let's talk about that for a minute. In Scientology, they have labels for everybody, labels for everything. They love to put a label on people. And if you're connected to somebody who they consider to be a suppressive person or somebody who is antagonistic towards Scientology, not in agreement with it, that Scientologist gets labeled a potential trouble source. And it's just what it sounds like, right? Because there could be trouble. What if this family member decides that they want to sue Scientology? What if they want a wellness check done on this person because they've been missing for years and now they're seen on the internet? If Scientology has so many people who become potential trouble sources within the church, within their own rules, that is a huge problem. These people would not be able to do Scientology training or services. It creates more and more of a problem. So having Sea Organization members, especially on video and their images being shared, can create huge situations for Scientology in regard to their families or friends or people who know them coming forward. It would make them potential trouble sources. And technically, in Scientology, in the Sea Organization, that can affect your job. That can affect where you're allowed to work. And the people coming out of these buses at the building where the L. Ron Hubbard Life exhibition is, they're higher in management in Scientology. So if their family finds them, discovers them, reaches out, this can be a real problem. They could lose people on their jobs. They'd have to be sent somewhere else, which is a tactic that Scientology uses. If people, if somebody's looking for somebody and they will send them somewhere else to hide them. So I think them being put on the buses is kind of about this. Let me know what you think in the comments or in the chat about that. But that's my feeling on it, that it's more to do with hiding their faces so that people don't recognize them. Jessica PALMADESSA shared more about the other night at the very end of Confident Chris's video. He talked about, Jessica came up and shared that she thought that there was a tracker possibly on her car or on her phone because she was being tracked and she got an alert. Well, we've since found out that when Jessica PALMADESSA, William Gude, Confident Chris, and I'm not positive if it was also Chris without a Hellcat or not, when they were at this building, their phones started being tracked. So it would track their movements everywhere they went. After they arrived at the Scientology Management Building, which is also where the L. Ron Hubbard Life exhibition is, Jessica called Apple and got this removed off her phone and found out how to do this and then shared that with William and other people. And I think it's hilarious because why are you tracking these people? They live stream the whole thing. They tell you where they're headed and where they're going. You can see in real time. Do they really need to be tracked? That's probably just a carryover again, an old Scientology tactic that they've used because it's what L. Ron Hubbard said that you do. And we all know they have to follow the L. Ron Hubbard playbook on how to be culty and how to follow people and harass people. And that's what they have to do. But it's everybody else looks at it and goes, well, why would you do that? You can see where they are. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Chris Without a Hellcat, his parents got called by a private investigator working for Scientology. And Chris ended up calling the private investigator back, and I think saying that he was Danny Masterson. And Chris shared that he's been calling this private investigator back over and over again, I believe, returning the bull bait. Because in Scientology, bull baiting is finding out what somebody's buttons are, what their pain points are, and pushing them. So it sounds like he's just returning the favor. The Squirrel Squad there after hours went to watch these buses, like I was saying earlier, go in and out of the building. And the bus driver has now started recording the protesters. I don't know what the law is in Los Angeles, but I know here in Minnesota, you cannot have a cell phone in your hand if you're driving a vehicle. So I don't know, is that a thing? And it sounded like I couldn't clearly see it. Somebody tell me if you saw it. Did the bus driver have the phone that he was recording with in his hand while he was driving the bus? Or, was it on a dash cam or something like that? I don't know. You tell me. Let me know if you saw that. Because it kind of looked like that, and that's a problem. Another thing I saw, how there's the hired security outside. There's like one or two guards out there that are outside hired security. They're not Scientologists or Sea Organization members. And it's been pretty clear that they're there because they're being paid to be there. One of the guys early on, gave his phone number to Jessica Palmadessa. He accidentally leaked it over her live stream. And apparently a lot of people called him. But I don't think she texted him though. The other security guard, when Jessica returned to the Hollywood Testing Center late last night, early this morning, he, called in that she was there. But the look on his face, like you could tell Jessica's here, but he had this big smile and he's smiling at her. It cracks me up that this is Scientology's hired security and they're there doing their job. But you really get the vibe that they're enjoying what's happening with these protests outside of the building, outside of the Scientology buildings. They don't react in the same way that Scientology security does. Now, today is going to be a big day in Scientology protesting. Aaron from Growing Up Scientology is on his way to Los Angeles. Liz Gale, she's on TikTok. She's also here on YouTube. She's going to be there as well. I know that there's other SPTV creators who are making plans to go out at different times. Relatable Reese, she has a channel here on YouTube. She's going to be going to Clearwater in a few weeks to hang out with Aaron and join the protest there. I am here for all of it. I cannot wait to watch it. This is just going to continue to grow. Scientology's hope was it would just die out. And if they cover up some windows and make it so you can't see in, maybe follow some people, call their mommies and daddies. Oh my goodness. Surely they're going to stop after that. If you call people's parents and say, do you know that your child is creating issues outside of Scientology and making threats and blah, 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 all the stuff that they say is ridiculous. I heard too that Jessica Palmadessa's mom is a mod in her live, so she knows what's going on. Again, fail, 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 fail. Scientology getting it wrong since 1950. Alienating people, creating their own enemies. Larry, thank you for the super chat. Love your message. And let me tell you something. I'm your age and you make me look like an old man. God bless. Fight the good fight. Keep the pressure on. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But I have some amazing lighting and this StreamYard just makes you look better. But thank you. I do appreciate that. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. If you could put question in all caps in front of your question, that'll help me find it easier. If I, missed it earlier in the chat, go ahead and post it again because I'm going to be peeking in there now and see what other questions. Good morning for people who are joining us here. Good afternoon, good evening if you're catching it on the replay or a different part of the world. I know that we have Swedish Lena here from Australia where it's 12:30 a.m. Yeah, lucky you're in this insomniac because you're staying up and watching it. I love that. And Alyssa, I too, I'm excited for tonight. It's a good idea. Take a nap. Take a nap. I've been really enjoying doing these live streams in the morning, my time, Central Time at 7:30 a.m., wherever you are, Monday through Friday. I'm also going to do live streams in the evening, not every day because, girls got to have a life. But especially when I collaborate, I did a live stream last night with Marilyn Honig from, Coffee Cults and Crafts. Or is it crafts? Well, you know. That was a ton of fun. We talked a lot about the confidential levels in Scientology. And like I said, my sister's coming back next week and I've got some other guests coming up. Marilyn, there you are. Okay, yeah, I can't wait to see Liz, Gail, and Aaron there. Me too. So excited. I'm real excited that Liz is going. That's going to be, I'm glad. I'm really happy for her that she's going to be there and doing that. And be able to, when ex-Scientologists show up, like Laura FM's been there, literally Serge has been there, they do a great job helping people understand what's going on behind the scenes. And if they hear something, what that means, they could, kind of translate, kind of like what I like to do here with my channel, which is to bring an understanding of the mindset of a Scientologist and Scientology for a couple of reasons. One, I think it helps in how to reach Scientologists, how to make those impacts when you're there protesting. But also, if you have an opportunity to have a conversation with a Scientologist, how you could maybe get through more and ways to educate the public in general. Because people have different ways of doing it. And people got into Scientology for many different reasons in many different ways. And they're going to leave for many different reasons in many different ways. So sharing these messages differently, having different SPTV creators communicate in the way that they do, focus on the things that they're passionate about, all come together and work together and create this force to get it shut down and to stop these abuses that have been happening in Scientology for decades. Ray Bay, today is going to be epic. I hope the OSA folks woke up stressed today. I hope they have fun with it too. I'm sure it's exciting for the Office of Special Affairs as well. And if you don't know, they are the part of the C organization in Scientology and are the ones that coordinate the private investigators, security, so many things when it comes to security in Scientology, but also public relations. So they're the ones to blame for a lot of the foot bullets that Scientology gives themselves over and over and over again. Hey, Charlotte from Clearwater. Thank you, Nancy, for the reminder for people to hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. Pirate Tom First Class. Hey, from snowy Maryland. That is, I don't know when we're going to get some snow. It's just cold here in Minnesota, but it's going to warm up. It's going to warm up next week. It's going to be a balmy 38, which means I don't need to wear a jacket. Although I just go from my car to my office or my car to my home. Clea, yes, the guards like Jess and have even given their numbers to her. So I bet Scientology is targeting them too. Probably. I'm a little blown away that they continue to be able to be there by Scientology because the Office of Special Affairs knows this, which then makes me think, right? Because then my cult paranoia kicks in and I'm like, okay, are they doing it? Is this a ploy? But I don't think they're that good of actors. And they're obviously uncomfortable at times with what's happening. So I think they legitimately are hired to be there and they like the protesters. They have to know. And if they're watching, if they're watching these live streams, they're finding out about what's happening with, with Scientology. So they got to be knowing. They got to be knowing. Fizzy, was the older woman talking to streets for real? Did not seem credible. I don't know. It could be she was a staff member for Scientology, not in the C organization. I don't see the SEA. If you have a medical condition like she did, you're not going into the SEA organization. That would disqualify you because they're not going to take on that liability. As desperate as they are for people, the SEA organization is not going to have someone come into the SEA org. Watch them do this though and prove me wrong, which I'm totally open to. Have that person come in who has such a serious medical condition, because you'd have to do the estates project force, and would she be able to make it through that? I'm not sure. Clea, I think it's funny they flew a drone around the building, and that footage should be online at some point, like they flew it up near the windows. I saw that. So I need to find out if someone can tell me in the comments or email me at natalie@tonkatalk.com what is the YouTube or TikTok, preferably YouTube, of the person who's flying the drone, because I want to keep an eye out for that footage as well. That would be something. That would be something to see. Oh, okay. Cardi's saying that they wanted her to join the Sea Org, and that's when she left. Ah, okay. That makes sense. And I'm so glad that she did. So glad that she did. Lord Zenu, Scientology has nothing. They're losing the battle and the war. Yeah. And this is very much a public opinion, public relations war. It's not about what Scientology believes as far as religion goes. It's about abusive practices. They can believe in Xenu and audit out their body thetans all they want. It's the abusive practices. It's what's happened to children. It's what happens to adults. It's the coerced abortions in the Sea organization, the sleep deprivation, the food deprivation, the slave labor, all of those things. Yeah, Super Solomon, she was out 10 days, but that wasn't a 10-day-old dog. Yeah, she said something about having her dog with her. Does Scientology allow pets in the blue building? Think about it, 16-hour work days where the dog. Yeah, no, a dog would not be allowed. I'm not saying that they wouldn't allow it in the building. I don't know, in the public spaces. But as a staff member or a Sea organization member, no, you would not. A Sea organization member would not have a pet. And a staff member, you might have a pet at home because you live at home, but would you be able to bring that pet in? I really doubt it. I mean, they're so next level about so many things that I don't think that they would allow that. I really don't think that they would. But if she were being recruited for the Sea organization or was a staff member, maybe. Fizzy saying that she did claim Sea Org. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Could just take her at face value with what she said. But I'm not sure about that. I really am not. G14, good to see you here. Hey, be kind. Oh, no way. Mark. I lost that. Mark and Claire had a dog when they were in the Sea organization at the international base. I know I thought David Miscavige had a dog at one point. I don't know why I seem to remember that, but that's interesting. I did not know that. Might have been different at the international base where they were. I never saw a dog or a pet when I was in the Sea organization that belonged to a Sea Org member, not one time. But like I said, doesn't mean it didn't happen at a different base and something was different there. Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Yep, Lord Zeno, you're totally right. The LAPD needs to be looked into as well. 100%. And in the description of this video, you're going to find some information on who you can email, who you can call. There's some call to action steps in there. And thank you, G14, for the reminder for people to hit the like button. Oh, this is interesting. So Cardi K saying they did send me, so they sent you a copy and paste email back saying they are investigating the calls, but they're still happening. So I doubt it's being investigated. It could be too. I mean, let's talk about that for a sec. They need to respond. The police have to respond to these calls, because even though, there's so many times where they're crying wolf, what if that one time it actually is serious? And that's the unfortunate thing about this, and how it ties up so many resources, and it's such a waste. But they do need to respond to the calls. So I think it's possible that they're still responding, but also could be investigating. The officers who show up are out doing patrol, not necessarily the ones who would be investigating it. So let's see it play out. Let's see what happens with that. But it's interesting that they're sending out a cut and paste email about this to people, because I think too, if they're saying that they're investigating it and they're responding, even if it's cut and paste to so many people, you'd be kind of stupid to not actually be doing it, not actually be investigating, because that would be a bold-faced lie, which would be pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. Mark is asking, were the kids that threatened Solomon bullies from his school? I don't know. They looked older to me, but sometimes high school kids these days do kind of look older. I do not know about that. I did not hear that on the stream, that they were anybody that Solomon recognized. Clearwater, Erie, PA. Solomon's parents and Williams have him, so like they have him back. The life lessons on his civil rights is priceless. His education on not getting involved with a high control organization, again, priceless. Yes. And again, I do. The mom in me worries about him. The mom in me wants him to stay home. But the other part of me, this is a very unique experience and opportunity for him to learn. What is he? Is he 17 or 16? I forget. But I mean, there's young people who at 18 have gone to serve in the military, who were sent to Vietnam back in the day, who are 18. And there's just something about having the opportunity to learn about your civil rights, to have an understanding of not just what your rights are, but how you also could be most effective in showing up, in how you present yourself, in managing your emotions, in managing that reaction, not taking the bait, in being able to diffuse a heated situation by not added to it, knowing the time or the place. These are things that I think he and the other people who are protesting are learning as well. And those are great life lessons. And I think William Gude is doing a great job of educating that way. And these are life lessons that these kids, and I call them kids because I could be the mother to all of them. My kids are 33, 31, and 25. So my kids are older than some of these kids out there. It's an experience with what they're learning. They're going to be take with them throughout life and in different situations. And I hope that they do that. And this is a great thing to be a part of, to stand up for, especially since they've never been in Scientology. And that just continues to not just amaze me, but really touch my heart, that so many people are willing to put in the time, the support, to support these channels, to support people who are out there, to spread awareness, to reach out to your government officials on behalf of the people who have been injured, harmed, and who are still trapped in Scientology, and also to prevent people from getting involved in Scientology in the first place. It's just so, it's amazing. It's very, I'm just so impressed by that. I just am. I am. I love it so much. All right. Okay. Let's see. Erica, do you think it's exciting because they are normally just bored out of their minds? Could be. Yeah. Could be. I mean, it's exciting to watch. Can you imagine what that feels like if you're actually there and it's happening in real time? It's exciting to watch in real time. So I think so. I don't know what else they're doing in life. A few of them are, Jessica PALMADESSA had 1 million followers on TikTok before she even started this. So I don't know if they were bored out of their minds, but they wouldn't be there if they weren't engaged and benefiting and getting some fulfillment out of doing this. It has to be, again, it's just a unique situation. Yes, Jessica's parents are proud of her. I agree with that completely. Super Solomon, the best bull bait moves will come tonight, as I predict about 100 people outside tonight. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll be keeping an eye on it, because I would imagine there'll be people there during the day as well. Karma Chams Kittens. Aaron has superpowers, clearing the streets of Clearwater with a bitty cell phone. Yes. You can show up with a cell phone and whoosh, they scatter. Leaving Scientology. Do you think the Sea Org members are being told a story about the protesters? Oh, absolutely. Definitely the ones that are there on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm not sure to what level everyone else on the base at the Blue Buildings would be being briefed. If they haven't, I think that they are going to be, because this is just expanding. And this isn't just 5, 6 people in front of the Hollywood Testing Center anymore. It's way more people. It's people outside of the Blue Buildings. It's people outside of the management building where the L1 Hubbard Life exhibition is. Hell Jensen, Natalie, how do you feel about a 16-year-old floating the streets of LA? Like, well, I think I just answered that question earlier. The mom in me, I don't like it. I want him to go home. But the other part of me, it's like, it's an experience and he's doing something that he feels passionate about. Mark, do you think that using a bullhorn at 10:30 is a little over the top and not considerate of neighbors? Yeah. I don't know so every city has their own ordinances. So I think it depends on what the ordinance is for that city. There are noise and sound ordinances. Now, where I live, it's till 10 p.m. It's considered the daytime. So you can have music playing or things up to a certain decibel up until 10 p.m. But after that, that would be a violation of a noise ordinance. Whether 10:30 violates a noise ordinance or not, I actually don't know. But that's a good question, Mark. And I think that's something they should keep in mind. And personally, yeah, I wouldn't want a bullhorn going off at 10:30 outside my house. So I hope they find out what the noise ordinance is. Hey, Maya from Norway. Good to see you here. Oh, Maria, I'm glad. She says, this time is perfect for Europeans, right at lunchtime. Oh, I love that. I love that. So if you're catching it on the replay too, I always love hearing where people are from. I love that. Power lies to paralyze. Once OSA, so the Office of Special Affairs, once their private investigators hack the iCloud accounts of the protesters, what do you think they'll do with that access? No idea. Generally what they try to do, they think that they can pressure people into stop doing what they're doing by exposing them. The difference here is these are people who live their lives out loud on the internet to begin with. The other thing is what Scientology considers to be scandalous in the normie world outside of Scientology is not. Remember, these are people who in the SEA organization, you are not allowed to touch each other in any type of fun way unless you're married. So to them, you would see how that would be something like, oh, you can't do that. There's a lot of judgment and they consider themselves to be the most ethical group on the planet. That's actually a thing. Their job is to put ethics in on the planet. They're the morality police. And I think that morals, that's somebody's own personal choice. That's your own personal choice, how you show up, how you conduct yourself, how you live your life. And I think they're going to find that what they consider to be so scandalous that they might try to put out there. And remember too, they make things up. So they don't even need to like hack and do things. They'll make things up or twist something as well. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind too. Bev, thank you so much for the super chat. It's very sweet. Pirate Tom First Class, thank you as well. Love the Natalie in the Morning Show. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I'm really glad you guys are liking the mornings. I'm more of a morning person, and with my work throughout the day, it works better. And my Tony, who you guys are going to meet as soon as I hit 10,000 subscribers, is going to join for a live. It's, I like my time with him too. So I'll do some more lives in the evenings as well. But I'm just trying to keep some of that balance too with my life as well. Yeah, you're right, Maria. OSA is attempting, is it psych-op or psyop tactics? Yeah, just don't take the bait. They're going to do what they're going to do and spin around and shoot themselves in the foot and look like idiots for saying this or that about people. This is the Office of Special Affairs that I'm talking about. I don't think it's something people need to be too concerned about because they've shown each time that their tactics just are ineffective. And honestly, this is really important. Most of what the Office of Special Affairs is doing is for their own members. It's for David Miscavige. He thinks that, oh, I'm going to do this and that'll get him. I am going to call Jessica PALMADESSA's mommy and daddy. Although if it's David Miscavige, it's probably more like this. I'm going to call Jessica Palmadessa's mommy and daddy, and I'm going to tell on her. Who does that? Who does that? My mom passed away, but I guess you could call my dad. Pearl's nappy. They are 2D flowing, Jess. Yes. If you do not know, 2D is the second dynamic in Scientology. It has to do with sex and your family, your partner. And 2D flowing is basically flirting. It's flowing that, I want to touch you in fun ways kind of a vibe. And it's very much not allowed in the SEA organization. It's something that's very frowned upon. And yeah, you could be a married couple in the SEA organization. And if you're too lovey-dovey in the middle of the workday, like you could get reported for that because it's being 2D flowy on, your work time, which is pretty much all the time. And that's something that some of the protesters have been saying to Scientologists and Scientology security, especially, I think it was Confident Chris when he yelled at a security guard, "Stop 2D flowing me." To people outside of Scientology, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but to Scientologists, it does. It does. And they'd be like, "Wait, what? How'd you hear about that?" Susan King, do you know whether there is any chance of this movement to Australia? Keep up the great work. Thank you. I don't see why not. Plus, don't you have like beautiful weather in Australia? That would be great. I think it's going to be popping up everywhere. There's a guy who's doing some stuff in San Diego. I've seen a couple of his shorts. I need to go back and get caught up more, but I think we're going to see more of that. Christine, good morning from upstate New York. I can't wait too to see what happens with this drone footage to see what they actually got. Lindsay says, I shouldn't be here for the drama, but I'm here for the drama of how Scientology is being called out. Oh, I'm here for all the drama. Mostly, though, I'm with you. How Scientology is being called out and how they're reacting. It's just the best thing ever. Lord Zenu says, I have a theory that someone in the higher ups ordered a lower member to call in these fake threats because they're all pawns to the organization in the end. Yeah, could very well be that some of these calls to the police outside the Hollywood Testing Center and other places are being done by, let's call them operatives of Scientology, not just from within the testing center themselves. And they'll do it. There's this twisted idea in Scientology, and I remember this from my cult days, where like if you get in trouble in Scientology and you have to make up that damage, there's this thing called a liability condition. We've talked about it on my channel where you have to ask permission to come back in the group, but not after you have made an effective blow to the enemies of the group you've been pretending to be a part of. And that effective blow could be doing shady things like this, calling in false police reports. I mean, they have a very twisted way of thinking that way of what, and a very ineffective way at the same time. Unapologetic me. I've seen the divide and conquer tactics of OSA, that's the Office of Special Affairs. I would love to hear your opinion on their textbook moves and how we can avoid any distraction from the cause. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. All right, so divide and conquer tactics by OSA, Office of Special Affairs. What they will do is get people into chats to try and create trouble, to try and stir up division. Now, having said that, not everybody who does this is an operative from the Office of Special Affairs. Some people are just assholes. And I know sometimes it's hard to tell, are you an a-hole or are you a member of the Office of Special Affairs? But doesn't always mean that it's someone. But I think that this is my advice to everybody. If you just treat people how you would like to be treated, and hopefully you want to be treated with respect and be courteous, and you ask your questions, let people ask their questions, let people have their disagreements if they don't fully agree, because it doesn't mean it changes how you feel or what you think. Two opposing views can exist at the same time. Don't take the bait, whether it's someone from the Office of Special Affairs or not, or if it's somebody just being a troll. Just, don't take the bait. and don't fall for it, and recognize that, because this is something that they'll try to do, is to create division within the group. It's something that Scientology is well known for trying to do going back decades. So just don't take the bait, and remind people of that too. It's if someone's in there trying to stir up trouble, just ignore it. Ignore it. Walk away. Ignore it. Mrs. Valentine, although Petty is my middle name. That's funny. So Ray Bay is saying there's a journalist who had a drone permit license. Oh, I cannot wait to see this. I really can't. I really cannot wait to see this drone footage. And yes, I'm seeing your comments about Mark and Chris having Mark and Claire having a dog. That's so interesting to me. Cindy Burrell is saying that pets are no longer allowed at the international base. That makes sense. Does that say Ali or Ali'i? I think it says Ali. Being Hawaiian, I want to say Ali'i. Ali Sage, are you doing a live stream tomorrow morning for a recap of tonight's events? Yes. I'm not going to do it as early in the morning. I'm probably going to be doing it maybe around 9 or 9:30 Central Time. That's my time. I'll let you know. I'll get out a notification probably tonight about it, or I'll get it out first thing in the morning. It won't be as early because I would love to have my just morning chill and coffee time. And later in the afternoon, there's a RV show happening here in the Twin Cities that I want to go to because I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with camping and RVs and that whole thing. When I'm not watching things about Scientology, I'm watching all the RV channels of people going camping and traveling around in RVs. I just find it like, I don't know, I'm super into it. Tony and I do some camping, and we have a travel trailer, and it's freezing now, but I'm already like counting down the days to when we can get out again. But that is my plan. I will be recapping tomorrow. And again, if you put question in front of your question, it's a little bit easier for me to see. I'm getting caught up here. Steve Britton, yes, the LAPD must respond to each and every call as if it was real until they establish it isn't. That being said, it is illegal to make a false report. So why aren't people being charged? I'm with you, Steve. And I hope that we're going to see that. That's what I'm hoping, is that that's exactly what we're going to see happen. Mel, thank you for the super chat. Usually watch replays, but really enjoy your videos. Thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. Maria, thank you as well for the super chat. All right, let's see here. Okay, so Solomon 16. All right, thanks, Steve. Space Cadet says Gude is a good person. I agree with you. So Steve saying Solomon is also too young to be hanging out there this much, in my opinion. I speak as a dad. I know I'm conflicted as well. You know, maybe, and William does send him home at times. I don't like, and William has told him, don't be out here if William's not there. And I hope that Solomon follows that. I don't think he needs to be out there as much as he is. Karma, what do you think of Chris Without a Hellcat's intent to screen South Park Xenu episode on the side of the test center building? Epic or fail? I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I think it's a fun idea. If people are going to be, hear it, or, we'll let it play out. But I think it's an epic idea. Let's see how it plays out. Beaker Bob, yes, William is doing an amazing job keeping everyone in line. I agree with you there. F, I watched an undercover video of a guy going into a Scientology place in England. It's really interesting. YouTube channel is called Absolute Audits. Interesting. That's very interesting. Maria, this is a good point. William is stressing boundaries with Solomon. He is learning. Yes. I thought I heard that his mom was going to come out tonight. Did anybody hear that too? I thought Will said that Solomon's mom, maybe it was next week or maybe it was tonight. I'm not sure. Pearl's Nappy. Are there any high-ranking Church of Scientology peeps I should look for in Austin at the ribbon cutting? Also, please join me February 2nd, 2024, if anyone would like. Oh, you're going to be out there. That's so cool. That is so cool. If you have a hot minute, can you email me at natalie@tonkatalk.com? I just want to make sure I pull up your channel and able to watch. I'm assuming you're going to be live streaming from there too. I would like to watch and follow along. And yeah, if anybody else is going to be out there in Austin, go ahead and join. Maybe you guys can connect. Space Cadet, why do the Scientologists run from a cell phone? Are they reptilian shapeshifters and don't want their false holographic overlay captured by camera? Most likely true. Could be. I have not seen that, but hey, just because I've not seen it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Lulu, hello. Good afternoon from the UK. That's right. It would be afternoon. I can't wait for tonight, tomorrow morning to watch 4 a.m. Crew. Love it. Okay, so someone's saying Karmic Peace is saying, hi, Drone Guy has TikTok too. Not sure about YouTube. At Scientology Drones. Okay, I got to remember to look that up. At Scientology Drones. Oh, okay. For February 3rd for the Austin ribbon cutting. Pearl just sent a correction there. February 3rd for that. So if you're in that area, maybe you guys could connect. Clea, that's awesome. So you'll be listening to recording the police scanner so you can help tip off the protesters. That's fantastic. It's so great. I can't believe they're still playing that Way to Happiness video out there too, outside the Hollywood Testing Center, because it's when you're just walking by, it's especially creepy. So Steve's saying his comment is he wasn't concerned with the bullhorn, especially when Chris told them to confess their solo 2D assists. Solo 2D assists. I was more concerned with the flashlights shining in the windows of CC, so of the Celebrity Center. I don't think I saw that. Oh, okay. So SPTV fan says cops told them until 11 p.m. so they can use the bullhorn and make noise. So that must be the sound ordinance there in Hollywood, as long as they point it at the street and not at the building. So that's good to know. So they're following the sound ordinance. Hey, brown spotted eagle. Pearl says they're not going to hack her devices. Let them try, but she can hack theirs. Steve, thanks for the reminder for people to hit the subscribe and like button. Okay, so Catherine's saying police already informed protesters that the noise ordinance is such that Scientology can play their music as loud as they want. So if they can do that, well, they tend to shut down 9, 10 o'clock, and I feel like they've had the doors shut too when things close lately. So maybe that's they keep kind of changing their tactics. Hey, Navina from Bulgaria, I'm so glad that you're here. It's good that some of you are night owls because then you can email me and it's faster for me in the morning to go to a specific part of a video if I couldn't catch the whole thing. Maria says, what would be fun? Natalie screen sharing Aaron's channel tonight and commenting. Ooh, okay, let's talk about that. What would that look like? How would that work? I would do it through. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I would just stream it to both. You know what? Maybe I'll talk to Aaron about that and see. I like to go through the different streams and stuff too. And but yeah, we'll see. That's an idea. I kind of like that idea, but we'll see. See what's happening, see what's up. Rune, yes, there is a very big book of Scientology ethics. It's a big book, and there's multiple bulletins and policies. Well, Alan Hubbard talks about ethics and how they're the morality police. Monica Cook, Natalie, I'm in shock at the number of foreigners in all locations. Is this normal or just since David Miscavige and the Office of Special Affairs took over? There has always been Scientologists from all over the world, especially at the Flag Land base in Clearwater. What I've not seen is this disproportionate number of people from outside the country, which is suspicious. It's sus as hell. Because, why? Not that there's anything wrong. You want to come from outside the country to do Scientology, fine. But what's happening to the people in the country? Are they getting the message? A lot of people are leaving Scientology, or they're doing what's called under the radar Scientologists, where they're playing along so they don't lose connection with their family because they're not ready for that to happen yet. Not ready to potentially lose their family. So that's interesting. And you're right. It's Hollywood Boulevard. It's okay to be loud. They check with the police. There are many bars around, yes, to a certain time, which it sounds like we've established might be 11 p.m. for the sound ordinance. Erica, do you think there's any other effective approach they should be trying? Signs with aftermath number, or maybe a loud audio of escapee interviews from Aaron's channel playing on loop? All of it. All of it. I think there's so many great ideas and ways to do this. There's not one way. There's not one way, because people got into Scientology for different reasons in different ways, and they're going to leave for different reasons in different ways. And any way that these different things people can be exposed to that is a good thing. Definitely letting them know that something like the Aftermath Foundation exists where they can get help after they leave and getting on their feet. Absolutely. I cannot wait till Aaron starts his foundation, the new one, and find out more about that and see, it's another resource. There should be many of them because, again, different people, different ways. The more diversity we can have in the people who are helping them, the more of a larger community that can be helped. Mark. Unless it's Danny Masterson who got away with 2D flowing until he didn't. Yeah. He's such a piece of crap. So Hell's saying, I don't think Scientology is that prominent in Australia. The truth is, it's not that prominent anywhere in terms of the number of Scientologists or new people coming into Scientology. Scientology is prominent because they have a ton of money and a ton of real estate and tons of big, beautiful buildings. Nobody can do landscaping like people in the Sea Organization who are working for free. They look gorgeous. They're beautiful. That's the impact. There's no impact otherwise. There aren't. I think it's generous to say that there's between 20 and 30,000 Scientologists on the planet, but because of the way the cult structure works and all of the money, they want to give this illusion that they're this big organization with so many members. And when you hear about Scientologists donating over $100 million from like one family, these are what are called Scientology whales. They're big donors. That's why you got to hit them in the pocketbook. Get rid of their tax exempt status. And it's going to be a lot harder for these whales to justify these donations to Scientology. Thank you, Larry, for the reminder for people to hit the subscribe button. Oh, and Bev is saying that Chris Without a Hellcat has a drone. So I think we're going to see some of that too. I think Jessica has a drone too, but she hasn't brought it out yet. And now we got this other person who's out there with a drone. So many things to see. So again, feel free to email me at natalie@tonkatalk.com and let me know what you see. Don't assume I've already seen it. I try to keep up on as much as I can, but it's a lot, people, and it's getting to be more and more. So I really appreciate that. Those of you who are doing that, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ison, I'm butchering that. I apologize. It's almost comical that they think their outdated practices straight out of the 60s would still work nowadays. They only look weird and people laugh at them. I know. It was many of these things were cringe when I was in Scientology, when I was in the Sea Organization, and continue to be. I was embarrassed multiple times. And then after leaving Scientology and really understanding how the world sees them and these tactics, even more so, it's just mortifying. Space Cadet, you're right. They have so many empty buildings. It's ridiculous. It truly is. There's not It's this false, it's all false. It's all part of the propaganda. Oh, we have these big, beautiful buildings. We're succeeding. We're winning. All these squirrels, all these suppressive people are out there. So we're totally winning. We know that this is what David Miscavige is telling people with the C word, although it's more like this, right? We are winning. We are winning because the squirrels and the suppressive people are outside. Come on. I'm sorry, but I can tell you, there are hardcore Scientologists who even they don't buy this, that we're winning because these things are happening. But there are many, I would say the majority believe it, that the suppressive and the squirrels are out there mean Scientology is winning. The majority do believe that because they need to believe that. But there are some who don't, who actually are like, no, this is messed up. That's why these things do get through and do create an impact. Steve Britton, you take that back. RVing is camping. I get what you're saying, but man, I'm in my 50s. I need to be comfortable. Comfort. I was uncomfortable for so much of my life, especially in Scientology. Now I'm like, I want to be as comfortable as possible, as often as I can. So DDDD is asking, what is tonight's event? Well, in Hollywood, there's going to be more protests, but Erin from Growing Up in Scientology is going to be there, and Liz Gale's going to be there. She's on TikTok. She does a great job on there, and she's on YouTube as well. Aaron is asking viewers to question their congressional reps if they would support a hearing into the Church of Scientology tax-exempt status. Since this is an election, shouldn't we ask their opposition also? Yes. In fact, the description of this video, I put a few call to actions, and one of them is that reaching out, find out who your representatives are and ask them, where you at on this whole Scientology tax exempt status? Would you support a hearing to look into it, given the decades and decades and decades of abuses? Go look back at your own FBI records. The Church of Scientology committed one of the largest infiltrations into the United States government in history. The FBI raid into Scientology in the 1970s was one of the largest FBI raids in history. These things, a lot of that we're talking about that they're still doing, they've been doing forever. Remind your elected officials about this. Share even the current recent stories of people who have left and what they've gone through. Hell, send them a link to my channel. If somebody knows Solomon's YouTube or TikTok, can you put it in the chat? Someone's asking, and I actually don't know for sure. And Lord Zenu says he approves of screening the South Park episode. Why not? I don't know how they'll get the volume to work, but I think that they should. So James is saying that Street, so William Gude, told Solomon's mother to nicely start paying attention and keep him away from there. All the mom had to say was, I have 3 boys. Oh, yeah, that's rough. But he's keeping an eye out for him, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah, be kind. You're right. Street actually said he wished the crowds weren't growing in front of the test center because it's already shut down. People need to go to other places. The Blue Building Celebrity Center, which is where the Manor Hotel is. I agree. Okay, good, Pearl. I cannot wait to hear from you on Austin and what's going on. So do share your stream so we can support you as well in what you are doing. Lord Zeno, I think it's very important that parents explain to their kids that Scientology is a cult. I agree with you, and I would take it a step further. I think that think about it, right? We are finding out more and more about how many cults actually exist. And there are many. There are so many documentaries about cults, and that's not even covering all of them. I think the conversation, when it's appropriate for your family, is to educate your kids about and yourselves about how mind control works, because sometimes you don't know you're in a cult and you are. It could be a cult of 1, a cult of 5, a cult of 5,000. I didn't know I was in a cult. Most Scientologists don't know they're in a cult. Why would they be there if they knew they were in a cult? They don't see it as a cult. This is why Elizabeth Moss, the actress, can do a show like The Handmaid's Tale and not connect the dots, because she doesn't think she's in a cult. Although one of you shared the other day that she didn't talk to her husband about Scientology, which makes me question, how much of a Scientologist is she? I don't know. She's a second generation Scientologist, I'm pretty sure. Hey, Purple Dragonfly. Good to see you and thank you. So Steve Britton saying someone should go down to Celebrity Center and say, I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum. What was that from? Wasn't that from a movie? What happens next will determine if they're reptilian shapeshifters or not. Is that was that from Men in Black? Might have been. I don't know. You tell me, Steve. Yeah, Maria, this is a good point. Mike Brown's channel, Mike Brown is here on YouTube, shows the horrible way that elderly and his mother were and are treated. That is another huge issue. And we've seen some of these elderly people getting onto these buses outside of these Scientology buildings. That's so heartbreaking for me. You know what? If I'm being honest, when I was in the SEA organization, it was heartbreaking for me, seeing them struggle sometimes physically. And I tried to help where, whether it was carrying a tray or holding a door or just helping where I could, because they don't get a lot of that. And it's heartbreaking. And, it's because Scientology isn't there to help everyone. L. Ron Hubbard said Scientology is to help make the able more able. The able more able. So those of you with a pulse and a wallet that have a job so they can get to your wallet, they're there to make you more able. If you're able enough to pay for Scientology, you're good enough to receive Scientology. That's how they see it. So you're not going to see outreach programs where they're trying to help people who are unhoused, help people who are really in need. Oh, Steve, I just got it. Solo. Okay. I'm slow sometimes that way. I just got that. Justin, could your passion for camping and sense of freedom in nature come from being less free in Scientology? Absolutely. Not to mention, it's not something I was able to grow up doing. Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many things. I've been out of Scientology for 13 years. And even though, oh my God, I just realized what time it is. Y'all are distracting me. Even though I've had multiple experiences and I've, done some traveling, most of it after I left Scientology, the vast majority of it. I say this often. I feel like I've just arrived to the planet 13 years ago. There's a lot for me to learn. There's a lot for me to see. There's a lot for me to explore, and I want to do it, and I want to do it all. So yeah, I would say that. I think that could totally be a thing. Space Cadet's asking, do you happen to know how Scientologists gather info to profile protesters? Aren't Scientologists banned from the outside world? No internet? Do they have special access to special databases? They use private investigators. They hire lawyers who hire private investigators. Steffi, do you think they only let out the non-English speaking because they cannot talk to Aaron? It would seem that way, but I don't think so. I think they want to hide everyone away. I think sometimes the non-English speaking might not be understanding security and the directions about not going out, or they just don't care and don't listen. So maybe. All right. I apologize if I can't get to your question, but we're running out of time. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Mark says, Natalie's Davy voice sounds like Ralph Wiggum's from The Simpsons. I need to perfect it. I need to perfect it. Lauren, are there lots of Scientologists in Hawaii where you're from? No, just like everywhere. There's not a lot of Scientologists. There were like, I don't know, maybe 60 or 80 key ones. Maybe they could get more people together. Catherine, thank you. You glamp. That's cool. Yep. I totally am into the glamping. Shannon Lee, yes. Squirrel collected those nuts. Oh my gosh, you guys crack me up so bad. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to keep an eye on what's happening, right? We're going to talk about it. There's multiple live streams that I'm going to want to follow. I might jump on live tonight. We'll see how that all works out. I definitely will be here tomorrow doing a recap and sharing what happened. I hope that you guys are here with me. Nancy, thank you. She's sharing there. My email's natalie@tonkatalk.com. It really does help me when you send videos with timestamps and things, because there's just so much to cover. And I love hearing your take on it. And sometimes I can't always hear too, like what's being said. And I feel like sometimes people are better at making out what's being said in some of these videos. So by all means, do that. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. And I hope you guys have the most amazing cult-free day today.